Two, here, Tina. Here.
Right, public participation.
We've got
Nope. Good.
Anya here.
Anya is here.
Anya is.
Hello.
And I thought I saw Amber coming in, but I actually think she joined the prior meeting, so she may be popping in as well. All right.
Okay, I need approval of the minutes of the December 2022 regular board meeting and the 2023 organizational meeting.
I so moved. Second. Mark?
Yes.
Kathleen? Yes. Barb? Yes. Karen? Yes. Sue? Yes. Tina? Yes.
Okay, Lynn, correspondence.
I don't know if this is appropriate, Linda, before you get started with that. I did want to make a request. Since we've got almost everybody here. You know, we wouldn't even have a library if it hadn't been for Harold Showalter. And Harold was really instrumental in us hiring Lynn in the first place. So I wish we could do, since he's retired from the board, if we could just do a plaque for each building honoring him.
But I think we talked about doing when he's sitting here, right?
I wasn't at the
Oh,
last meeting
yeah.
because I had a school board meeting.
Yes, yes,
So
so.
I wasn't aware of that. Nobody told me.
Yep.
Thank you.
It's not done yet, but yes, it's in the works.
And so we, I'll just share, we made a decision that anybody who has served on the board 25 plus years, once they retire, they will also get a plaque. So,
Well, since Harold was really responsible, he and I worked on, with someone from every school district when we got the libraries automated in the schools. And then we worked to get a library building in each school district in the county. And since Harold is retired, and I just think it would be nice to honor him. I don't know how plaques are that expensive, but it would be nice to put one in each building to honor him.
oh, no.
And I think that would really mean
Yeah,
a great deal to him.
because he's going to instrumental in getting the whole thing started.
Right,
And that's over and
The
above
whole
just
thing
being a
started.
permanent.
He and I worked together, so. Geez, I don't even know how many years I've been on here, but I know my hair was dark then. Right, Karen.
Right. Those are the good old days. Anybody need any paper for correspondence right now? I will send those around and you can take a copy if you want, but it's from the extras I've got. Okay. So we are talking about correspondence. And it's a public library fund. There is word, of course, the Director of the Department of Taxation, the Ohio Department of Taxation, you know, was like everybody is urging caution when we're talking about, you know, the economy. But the fact is, they also say that Ohio is set very strong for sustainability at this point. And we continue to see the tax revenue and the PLF doing pretty well, even if their estimates will revise down a little bit. If I look at the numbers, and if we average $75,000 per month from the PLF, we will easily hit our first, higher target for revenue for that particular. So it's not a year, nice and strong.
so 75K is the goal each month.
And then and there are historically, there are some months because of the way tax collection is done, that some months are lower. I'm thinking that February is tended to I don't remember, it just seems like there was a month earlier in the year that was on my taxes. And yeah, it could very well be June and that might be March. So maybe March and July.
Yeah.
So you'll see some fluctuation, it's not always, but if we're 75,000, then that will be our target by the end of the year. Just number 4, I wanted to make sure that the board, I know I, was able to scan and email a couple of the thank you notes that were received. I will pass around this one from the Georgetown staff that I also received. And then I also received a number of individual email messages from staff, just really very, very appreciative of the way that you approached our year end and sharing some of that bounty with them. It really made the difference for a lot of people. I understand that there were tears, real tears of joy.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
I heard that after that, I'm involved with Barb Leibold in some of the things.
Yes.
And she said Amazon. She said it to her side, and they were just so overwhelmed that we would do this. And I said, well, you guys are the backbone of how we get this done.
That's the absolute truth.
And I said, we were happy to do it. We were happy that we were able to do it.
Well, and that's the big thing is that ability to do it is not always.
May not always be there, but when it is, well,
The Heather says it sounds muffled. All right. Let me put this at the machine and see if we can turn up the volume a little bit. Okay, I turned it up as high as it'll go, Heather, so you'll have to give us a little more feedback, but we're that's
Georgetown, thank you.
clear now. And then just a couple of other things to point out. I did mention in, it's actually number 6C that the Department of Taxation updated and reduced their totals a little bit, but still strong. And then 6D, the notice from Ohio Library Council that the federal government has passed the Financial Data Transparency Act. And over the next several years, they expect to make some changes that will promote data transparency through standards which will require financial information to be automated, searchable, and machine readable. Now, I know that even at the state level, there's a program that they have, encouraged public entities to post all their data, but the way it's structured, we don't have the staff and the time to go through and be able to redact things that shouldn't be in there. And, so we don't participate in that. It's not mandated, but it looks like there's going to be a federal level, something that is going to be mandated. It would be really nice if it just meant scanning our annual financial report from UAN and, posting it, which we could do right now, once it's been approved, put it up on our website, but that's,
I will tell you, and so I work in pharmaceuticals, and we have been held for the past 12 years to the Sunshine Act of the payments reporting, which is very similar, it sounds like. And I will tell you, it's a lot of work, and we have hired compliance people just to do that. But I mean, that's on a larger scale, so something that
it's a little bit daunting to think about it, but it's one of those things, and this is where particularly our institutional membership dues in the Ohio Library Council are more than worth every penny we pay, because they so help public libraries understand and find ways to comply with this kind of thing. So,
well, and when you're on the school board, but I think that the school board, they just have to post their yearly budget, right? Their financials.
Oh, they don't do everything.
But it's on the website. And that's, is there anything?
Not necessarily on the website,
Yeah.
but you can get on the website. And what, would that be nice? Yeah, you can get there.
I keep a folder in my office and I go to the newspaper. like a one page, if they wanted to see our financials, they could stop.
See, it's to me, that seems like that would be compliant.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's usually posted early February.
I mean, that seems,
I've never had anybody stop and then review our
that
financials.
seems, that should fulfill that.
Yeah, we don't get a lot of public information requests at all. And then there's one thing that actually came in late yesterday afternoon that I wanted to make mention of. And that is the annual library trustee workshop, the registration is open. It is being held on March 4th. It is an all-day workshop, and it's actually going to be at the Ohio Library Council's office in Columbus, actually Dublin, Northwest Columbus, or online with the same access to workshop content. So if that is something that seems that might be of interest to you, please let me know so we can get you registered. You would pay for, if you want to go there, we will take care of those costs, or online. It's kind of on you to figure out how you want to.
Yeah, I went to the one right before COVID. And it really was for, I had never, hadn't been in the library system, and it was a very informational meeting. A lot of people, I mean, they covered so many things, legal and, all the ramifications of being a public employee and what our liabilities are and our responsibilities. I thought it was really good for somebody just coming in.
And then
I may even do the online thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I might be able to do it.
The other piece of information in yesterday afternoon's message from LLC was about the governor's executive order prohibiting certain applications, platforms, and websites on state-owned and state-leased devices.
You know what that is?
So, again, there's Ohio Library Council, rather than us having to figure out the legalities on our own. They have, upon their initial review, clarified that it really only does apply to state agencies, boards, and that does not mean us because we are not at the state level, we're a subdivision, and we've got a private board, which is really good because, what would that mean? You can't have Facebook apps on our branch phones to be able to do Facebook Live, or, so there were real implications for public libraries, and fortunately, at this time, this executive order does not apply to us. So if you've heard about it, no worries right now. And that's all I've got to talk about.
Okay, thank you, Lynn. It's on to Ms. Sarah with the financial report.
Ooh, January has been a busy month. I think I almost have your name done. Appropriation summary report. Comparing November to December salaries for the month of December, $87,321. That's up $20,748. And that does include that 22.5 profit sharing that we paid out in the last second December. So, employee fringe benefits, $14,602. That's down about $379 compared to November. Purchase and contracted services, $18,544. That's up $26 from November, so not too much. Library materials, information and supplies. We always expect December for that to be way up. So that was up $17,000 compared to November, but we paid a lot of stuff, a lot of book companies.
And I just thought it would be, it doesn't show it on this level, the percentage for our regular operating expenses. But if I'm doing calculations correctly, we actually are at 92.5% of our appropriations. So we save that many percentage points about what we had intended to spend. And that was even with paying out the profit share. So but the numbers show that we really did. And
that'll just roll into 23.
Thanks for having that. Month to date expenditures, all funds, $183,907.25. Bank reconciliation worksheet, my receipts for the month of December, $124,335.38. That included, a PLF deposit, 85,110, and then we had a generous donation in the amount of 37,000, from Cook, so. Payments, $187,990. I did, a lot of adjustments, from our friends for $4,085.
Those friends were really nice about supporting you
Yes.
and activity.
Outstanding payments, I have one outstanding payment, and believe it or not, it's an employee. So Hannah Taylor needs to cash her $12 or $9.25 check. It's the only December check I have outstanding, so Amber, tell me about it. The general fund cash flow, the last column, or the second to last column for December, I mentioned our PLF for December was $85,110. I just had a few other receipts, $330. So in the general fund, I brought in $85,440. You won't see that Cook donation because it's in the general fund. Total expenditures, $165,391. Leaving our cash balance at the end of 2022, $665,483. So we ended very strong. Let's see. I think I already mentioned, I'm trying to kind of go faster because we have a quarterly review. December 2022, expenditure reconciliation reports, payments, $83,188.60. Our two payrolls, the first one was $31,533.11. The big one, the last one in December was $54,438. The board chair retirement was $8,886 even. Medicare board chair, $1,216. Board chair insurance, $4,385.34. Local taxes were paid at the end of the quarter. The employee health portion was $1090.80. Our total expenditures, $183,907.25. Any questions about the payments? You're gonna see a lot of minuses. There were those friends adjustments. The big ones that probably stick out, we paid M&R Construction $15,000, Ingram $14,000. So a lot of the book publishers, things like that, were some big checks. I did leave $42,013.89. I'm looking at the fund summary report. I did leave that amount open for POs. Unfortunately, it's a bigger number than I anticipated, but we left a big PO open in the capital projects for Porter construction. And then we left a check, PO for $19,706 for library design in the Georgetown fund. So those hopefully will get wrapped up before the first quarter of the year.
And where is that again? Sorry.
Fund summary report, it's under the current reserve for encumbrances. Yes. What's that?
Like it says one at the bottom, fund summary at the top. I have it on the back of second period payment listing. I probably have a duplicate.
You're getting closer. It's I think they're not on the quarter. So I'm looking at the second to last column, the current reserve encumbrance. That is my open POs that I left open for 2022. Most of that general, I've already paid most of that out of that. So it's really just those last few funds that are sitting there with the higher.
I still don't see.
And truthfully, while we do not want to have much open and encumbered in the general fund, having those very specific special funds. Here we go. Here's a large. There.
Okay, where's the 40?
It went away.
Yeah, oh, it's good. It's
Okay. Okay.
Not
It needs
about
to
money.
be, it needs to be.
Lots of
And lots of
Thank you.
numbers, yeah.
But you can come to the number time.
So for that fund summary, I really just, I'm looking at that second to last column.
Yep.
And then month to date expenditures are the ones I really pay close attention to, and that month ending fund balance. Revenue status, I don't usually talk too much about that. And then you have a report that you only get quarterly on the back of your packet. So if we have time, we'll run through that real fast. So this is for beginning in 2012, going all the way to 2022. So you can see the public library fund, we brought in $74,781 more than 2021. That is, I mean, that's why our numbers look so good, right there. Homestead, we brought in about $5,900 more than 2021. Services provided to other entities, we're down $6. So we're really close. Other receipts, we brought in about $2,200 in receipts. This is some, that advance that we did from the advance end. So I have that in both, they're just gonna wash each other out. So we were up in the revenue side, 138,416, and that's including that advance. I didn't really know how to handle that. Our salaries went up 66,000, but we know 22,500 of that was that profit sharing. Benefits up $4,608. Library materials and services, we are up almost $50,000 there. Capital outlay down 2,200. Operating expenditures up about 4,000. And then we did a significant amount of more transfers than we did last year. So all in all, I think we did great.
We did, yeah. And just, of course, context, right, to really make the numbers mean something.
Yeah.
And so keep the wages, remember that's half a year of the new salary schedule as well. So in the middle of the year, we significantly increase the salary schedule. So that's why there's such a large jump as compared to the differences between, any other two consecutive years.
Right.
And, I will say pretty confidently, even though I didn't go back and look, that I have never, since I've been here in almost 26 years, seen the public library fund bringing in so $75,000. Almost $1 million. I'm sure what needs to be.
I was gonna say, I'm sure that's the trend for this year too.
Yeah. We're looking. Good luck.
Was there a particular contributing factor for that, or?
Well, I think that that's part of what everybody's trying to figure out is why the revenue is still so high when it seems that the other side of things, people are experiencing, because the money went away, And so, there's that disconnect that I don't know. I have not heard any of the people who are doing the conversing at the professional level be able to pinpoint that, and what's a lot of it is the fact that the people who are working, for the most part, wages have gone up significantly, and maybe that's what is really keeping everything afloat. That's turning back into the economy and coming back.
But we're not going to be using that as our baseline for this year. To count on that.
No.
I mean, I just don't know how volatile.
Right, and the closest that we can come to accurate is what the Ohio Department of Taxation projects.
Yeah.
Ohio Library Council usually does their own projections or tweaking of those numbers. And typically I look at whatever is lowest and use that, and then even round down so that we project lower revenues. And if we get more, great. We always have a place we can use them or sock them away for use later.
So that 75K then is very low.
Is that, yes. And then, that would bring in 900,000 at the end of the year.
Wow.
So that's still, that's a lot
Right.
still, but I don't think that's unreasonable unless something. Right.
I'm gonna take the projected amounts in the cash summary, the first one in January. Under the estimates, I'm gonna have what they projected, so you'll be able to see that number next month at the board meeting. I'm done.
Okay, I need a motion to accept financial and investment reports, approve paid bills, and accept donations.
I'll second.
Oh, sorry. Everybody's like, Mark,
Yes,
Kathleen. Yes. Mark,
Yes.
Karen.
Yes.
Sue. Yes. Tina.
I need a motion to approve the depository agreement for the period 3/1 of 23 to 2/29 of 28.
We were approached by First State Bank to give us a quote, because they want all our business. So this is dated November, so we've had this in our hands for a while. So then I asked People's Bank, who we are with right now. We do have one small account with First State, and I don't even know if that's it, right? I can do that. So here are the two sets of quotes.
So we could, the pavement board is going over the first one.
I would like to stay with People's Bank. I have a really good relationship with them, and I don't, and when you review those, you're not gonna see much difference. In fact, People's Bank they seem to be cutting a lot of our fees. So for me, just because of so many things happening with our new grants.
I know they felt that way too, but
Yeah.
it's beneficial for us to go to the first stage.
With First State not being, there's a People's Bank and a First State. I think one of our biggest challenges too is First State not in all of our communities, where People's is in 3 out of 4. So it's not my decision.
It's good that is sport.
We're not gonna have any more because if that is not the case, then someone from that grant, where there's no bank in that town, comes to several times a week, travel and make a deposit.
Which increases our potential liability.
Well, and if you're paying mileage and you're on site, they're not gonna be affected.
So Sarah, do you think this is a no-brainer?
I do at least, well, it does last until 2028, but so with People's Bank, we all know the fiasco that happened in August with them switching online portals and things, and they were so quick to resolve the issue. So their customer service is really good. Anytime I have any issues, I can get somebody on the first 2 rings. So I've never had to really deal with First State Bank because we just have that one small account. So as a customer service standpoint, I think People's Bank is great. They switched our accounts in July of 2020, and that was a mess to switch our accounts around. It took so much time. So to switch everything to First State Bank takes a lot of manpower. So
Do we have a motion? Any other questions for Sarah?
No questions. I think that sounds great. Yeah, maybe you want to know what else, so I'd go with for recommendation.
Karen's on.
I think we should go with Peoples. And make a motion, to approve the depository agreement. You second it.
Mark,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Sue,
Yes.
Tina.
Yes, and so I just wanted to let you know that Heather put into the chat, People's Bank has also stepped up and been more supportive of our libraries in the last several years, donating money and time for programs that are helping with programs. And Amber did mention, because Fayetteville is the branch that did not have a people in that town, but she enjoys having the option for Fayetteville, the town for the state, and we'll continue. We'll be there, not on the primary depository, a good place for a pass-through account. So just to make sure that they never know we're not getting rid of it. That account.
Thank you, ladies, for
Your comments. Yes, good.
Okay, on to the executive director's report, starting with the building report and statistic.
So, building reports, any comments, thoughts, questions about, the information that the managers shared in their building reports?
And I want to remind everybody that Tommy's here to add some questions.
So you're lucky, Heather.
Did you ask me a question? I'm sorry, it got really muffled.
Heather. Oh, my goodness. No, nobody asked you for anything this time around. Can you imagine that?
That's good. That's good.
Maybe that's why I'm confused, Lynn.
There you go. Well, but as you can see, it was holiday time, and so there were lots of family activities going on. I believe that Georgetown had their, one of their big events over at the fairgrounds, and that was the one where there was a lot of reindeer, which always draws a lot of attention. Anything else that anybody wants to share about that? And then they're glad when all of that hubbub is over because it has just been a zoo since before Thanksgiving, so.
Yeah.
Well, we'll move on to statistics if nobody has questions.
What was the film about for the movie? Did the student was using the meeting room for,
It was about a murder.
While you had your murder room set up for your.
No. So they were interested. She wrote the script and her actors come in and filmed it and everything. So
That's it. Our little brown county version included, or? So I'll talk about statistics since there's not really any things about the building report. You got a whole stack of papers, this colored papers this time because it's the end of the quarter and we like to just give you a little reminder of some of those detailed numbers. One of the things that I noted was that digital circulation, and you don't have a end of 2021 column there to compare to, but I spot checked a couple of things. And digital circulation is up 21.5% from last year.
Wow.
And there was a huge increase, in 2020, because of, everything having to go online. So, 20% is, that's an easy to imagine number, but the starting point is even higher. So that to me says that, that we knew it wasn't going to go away, but I think that people adopted and then adapted and it stayed with digital formats more than I had anticipated they did. A couple of the other areas, Chromebooks, I see that and I go, okay, we need to do some more marketing. It hasn't completely caught on yet, or people just aren't needing them at this point. And we didn't really get them running to the very end of the school year. So it was a slow summer, particularly with the Chromebooks. But the hotspots have recovered nicely, even though we really struggled with that transition when they went from the Sprint network to the T-Mobile network and all of the hassles involved in that. But we're back up to circulating them at levels that we were prior. So that was nice. And we'll be working on the annual report, since we have an early meeting in February, it's the 15th, so it's early, the board really can't be in the month. I kind of doubt that we'll have that extra statistics for annual stuff ready by that one, but it will, so we can cover that, but 2022 and then we'll work into it. Any questions about anything? Okay.
What is Hoopla again?
What's what?
Hoopla?
Hoopla is a service for digital downloads, music, movies. I think there are magazines and comic books on it as well. And each user gets a certain number of downloads per month because we pay per download. So it's not just a filter to all time. So we can control the cost a little bit, but I like going on there and, downloading a bunch of different music I might never listen to and just kind of, use it as a new playlist over the course of the loan period, and then it disappears and I don't have to worry about returning it, so.
Okay, Lynn, on to announcements.
Yes. So again, I handed out a sheet or and I also emailed you, so this one had a couple of things I would like to pay close attention to. For the first time that I can ever remember, we had a snow event, and this is under number 1, where the contractor himself said, it's not working, we're not doing anything, y'all, you probably allowed to close it, I was by the time at 4:30 in the morning, I got this, so I was already looking at, well, what's it like out there, what do we do in the library, so, but that was just one of those events that between precipitation and low temperatures, it was, and blizzardish conditions, it was a headache for a lot of people. Community engagement activity, so again, we've got the organizations that we pretty regularly do activities with, collaborate with, and managers handle a lot of these. So if the managers have anything they want to say about anything on the community engagement report, you feel free to chime in, or if the board has any questions for them about any of the specifics. I will just say that, Heather, you can clarify if I'm getting this incorrect, but the under grit near the bottom, the chamber and grit partnering to open the first remote work center. That's actually in this, the remote work center is in the office space that we used to lease for the library's business office back in 20 some years ago when we actually had a separate space. And this is for people actually pay for the space. It's the rental space. It's not just come in and sit down and use the facilities. They actually have, at least some of the space is for fee needs. So there's that. And then the chamber has now distributed $40,000 to local small businesses. That was money that was given by the Duke Energy Foundation to help recovery from the pandemic of small business. So that was a neat process to be involved in and help review applications and support local businesses. So managers, anything you want to add to that particular piece? If not, I'll talk about money coming into us. How's that? So number 3, finally, our emergency connectivity fund application for the year that started July 1st of 2022 was approved. So we can start asking for money back from the money that we paid for the hotspots during that last half of the year. And then, and that lasts through our payments that will be made through 15/30 for this year. And there is no additional round of that kind of thing. I did send out a message, I think it was the day after our last board meeting, that we did get notice that we got that library accelerated learning grant. I did recognize the American Rescue Plan money that went to the Department of Education, and they're finally rolling out the rest of the money that they all received. And I just am really proud of our staff. Heather really spearheaded the application for that grant. She involved several other staff members in doing the research and legwork, and we pulled it all together, did edits, and federal grants can be a pain in the neck, and while this one was going through a State Department It was a lot of work. They did a fantastic job and we got every penny we asked for. They did not. So it is amazing. And so now we have to spend that money and it's hard to spend $250,000.
When you were talking, you saying that you hadn't heard anything, and maybe that was a bad sign, and then they just awarded it.
Yeah, and the fact that, basically they awarded 50% of the applicants. And there was a lot more money requested than was available. And so, again, just kudos to the staff for doing this. And they'll get other pats on the back once we're actually implementing, because it's going to be a lot of work to do this, so. And then we did, I got some feedback from the county about the Appalachian Community Grant Program. If you remember, it's money that the governor set aside, and each county was allowed to apply for a technical assistance grant. I submitted everything, that was requested for our piece of what the county was going to submit. They've come back now just within the last couple of days and asked for additional information about potential, how much is it going to cost and other things that, I really don't know. And I suspected that the technical assistance grant is going to pay for people to do that kind of work. And so I'm not really sure what's going on, but it's due the end of this month, 31st. So I'll give them more information and hope that we continue to be included. That's all I can say about that. I don't know that in the last year I've mentioned anything about number 6, our unique management, the service, the organization that does our collections activity. We went this way, oh my goodness. I think we maybe have been using it for 20 years. I mean, I think it was early in the 2000s when we started using unique management, and they basically, in our automated circulation system, there are flags and accounts that are over a certain amount due, or overdue, and or dollar amount get sent digitally, electronically to this collection agency, and then they handle it. They handle the letters, the phone calls, and unique management is actually specializes in doing library collections. So it's not like the kind of things that you might, for horror stories about. They're very gentle. We want the materials back. The money if you lost something, but it's really about getting the items back. And so you can see that we've got an ROI of 15-to-1 for what we pay for account that goes over. And we actually have a fee attached to it. So if an account goes over, we have a $10 fee to help cover the cost that we have to pay to Unique for this service. So it's pretty much cost neutral for us, it's anything we pay out. But we did get $17,000 in people actually paying us for things that were lost. And then almost $7,000 worth of items were returned. And that's the big thing. We don't have to spend $7,000 or more when you think about costs and materials to replace them.
How do we pay them?
We get billed monthly. So it's a monthly thing. So I think it reports by week. So every week, whatever accounts meet the criteria are sent over to this. And this is all our consortium handles our automated checkout system. And so through that software, and it just goes right over to them, and they start, however, what their process is, they start working on these, and then once a month we get a bill for the number of accounts that are sent over. And I think it's $9.95 an account or something such per account. I don't know. It was $8.95 for years and years and years, and it's went up $1. So our fee that we attach to the accounts still covers the cost that we're being charged by you.
What is your time frame for initiating the collection? Is it like 30 days, 60 days?
I'm thinking it's a 45 day. Does that sound right, Tanya? 45 days past whatever date is due. And it's slowed down tremendously because we do not charge funds anymore, right? And we have auto renewal for a lot of things. And so it's fewer and fewer accounts that actually get to this point, which is very nice. And that's ideally what we want. But I think one of the biggest benefits has been that our staff do not have to deal with this kind of thing. It's very rare that they have to mess with something like this. So the rate is 985. 985. Okay, 90. So if someone actually pays, we're making 15 cents on the account, right?
I was curious.
Yeah. And then number 7 on your list, this is really exciting too, because it's kind of an outgrowth of both the Libraries Accelerated Learning Grants application and the program that, if you remember, Adriana had reported for one of the board training sessions about her early literacy kit. Am I remembering that correctly? Yes. So that we were encouraged by Ohio Library Council, we being any library that got the LIL grant, to submit a proposal to present at this new conference that's going to be at the end of March. And so we took that piece, that early literacy kit piece of the Libraries Accelerated Learning Grant, and asked Adriana to do a proposal to submit for possible presenting at the session at that conference. And so the proposal got submitted. I don't recall there's a specific date that they're going to make decisions, but it's going to be soon since the conference is at the end of March. So I really hope that we and she have this opportunity to share this at this level. That's really where I want to see us participating, and it's nice to know that we're doing the right thing for our communities, and but being recognized, you know, at a higher level by our peers is really something special. So, okay,
Great, thank you, Glenn.
yeah.
Right, any committee reports, updates? No. All right, number 6, I need a motion to amend number 096-22 regarding one-time wage adjustments to correct a clerical error on the information presented at the December 2022 meeting. Corrected version to read, quote, prorated amount of $375 for any ... unquote.
Right, I took the short way and did not repeat the entire motion, but basically this was approving the profit share. And my mistake was, and I'm surprised that nobody else caught this, and you know, I'm not part of the housing, but nobody else caught this, because when you decided on a certain amount for an employee that had been for more than 6 months, and half of that amount for the employees that hadn't been. Well, $325 is not half of $750. So we paid them correctly, but we need to now fix that boo-boo, what I presented to you.
I move to amend.
Second.
Okay.
Totally.
Yes.
Kathleen?
Yes.
Barb?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Tina?
Yes.
Okay, number 7, Libraries Accelerating Learning Grant from the Ohio Department of Education. We have a couple of motions under there. The first one, a motion to accept Libraries Accelerating Learning Grant from the Ohio Department of Education, amount of $249,572, and to authorize the executive director and fiscal officer to receive and expend all funds within the grant guidelines.
Go ahead, I'll second. She moved, I second.
Mark?
Yes.
Kathleen?
Yes.
Barb?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Tina?
Yes.
Okay, the second one, I need a motion to establish a special fund for the purpose of receiving and expending monies relating to the grant. and to set revenue and expenditure appropriations for the fund. And there is an attachment, if you'd like to refer to that.
And you see a bunch of X's after the two, because we know it will be a special fund, but UAN populates with its own numbering system way one place. Sorry, I don't know exactly what that's going to be.
I have a quick question because I was looking ahead to this transfer of 75,000 in advance, but I saw in the letter that the funds would be available January 31st. So you're looking to spend that before the 31st?
So this is actually a reimbursement grant.
Gotcha.
So we have to have money in the lines to buy some things, and then once a month, we're allowed to ask for reimbursement.
Okay.
So that's a great question, and I know to make sure that I mentioned that the reimbursement part of it. But we have a couple of items that are high dollar value. And we plan on putting those on order, they go spent first, which is why we thought that $75,000 should cover that easily. And my goal would be towards the end of the year, if we could carry the balance to move money back, if we don't need that much in that particular account at that time.
And is there a cap each month of what they will reimburse? So
Not that I've seen.
So if you wrote a check for 50,000, they would reimburse you that.
If at all. I'm assuming if everything has been approved, then as long as we haven't changed the expenditure or anything, that they will give us the money back without a question. And I think that somewhere in the documentation, they've given turnaround time. Yes, except the pods, yes. So one of the things we're doing is we're buying movable, soundproof, I'll call them study pods, so that people can have tutoring sessions or other things that are not going to be subject to the kids programs that are going wild over the other side of the building, or they won't disturb others, so get what they're reactive to. And those are about $40,000 for several of them. For several, not each, but if you took the contract would be for that much, and that's why we thought we would get this.
It won't be at each branch.
I believe the only branch that really cannot accommodate one because of space, it's our union.
Okay.
Makes sense.
I have a personal question, sorry. I see tutoring on here. Do you guys have tutoring now?
We have it not in person, but we do have it online, and that can be live online. So you've got a live person on the other end. It's not somebody just, oh, here's your homework paper, and here's where it's marked it up. But you can set up a section and get live.
Is that through the website?
Yes.
I'm looking for my screen.
Yep. It's brain fusion, it's called now. Is what it's called.
Thank you.
Yes.
Call that.
Yes. Yeah, there's a library, there's submit writing for each critique, and they'll send it back to you, they'll do the homework, yeah.
I need methods.
Flashcards, lots of neat things.
Anybody knows anybody that's a math and science tutor? Let me know. My son.
Yeah, we want to know too, because do hire those for live on site.
That would be
So
That's gonna be really.
people who are interested.
Well, and just a note for the managers and who's doing that tutoring, something that I think would be really good. Not only doing subject tutoring, but just teaching study skills, because I'm finding that my son and other young kids, they don't know how to take notes. They don't know how to, and nobody's taught them that in the school. I used to get graded on my notes. You know, that was a big thing.
That's
Running around with card, which
It's crazy, and so that's why I want to get him a tutor, because he's struggling because he doesn't take notes. But also to teach him how to study, because mom doesn't know anything. You know? Yeah.
then you're gonna have it more.
Motion, people?
I think it was 7B,
Yes, I mean,
I make a motion aside the.
I'll second.
Special
fund. So somebody does.
Special fund, you, Barb,
I seconded.
Tina, Mark,
Yes,
Kathleen,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Karen.
Yes.
Sue.
Yes.
Yes.
okay,
And I would say, just tonight, I gave you, handed out the summary, this is the first draft of it, and Heather did a fabulous job of putting it together in a nice visual format. To help people understand what this grant is covering. We have not received any guidelines yet about how we're supposed to market this. In the past with library grants, we're told very clearly, you have to acknowledge, this organization and here's the logo you should use and blah, blah. None of those kinds of guidelines yet, so we try to be sure that we're identifying people. But we'll be sharing this with our various organizations that we partner with so that they can know what we're up to and they can help us, carry it out in whatever ways are appropriate. Working with us.
Here, the computer.
Woo-hoo. And you all hear that? We got a volunteer too.
It's not high school, it's not that. ABC.
and then the last motion, C, I need a motion to transfer 75,000 of unappropriated funds from the general fund, 1,000 to the LAL grant fund to XXX.
Whatever
Yeah.
number is assigned.
For the purpose of making grant purchases in advance of ODE reimbursements.
I will so move.
I'll second.
Or a team.
Mark,
Yes,
Kathleen,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Karen. Yes. Sue.
Yes.
Yes.
number 8, the motion to approve disposal of property, which Lynn has provided yellow sheets.
Okay. Like this color. Great. I'll move. The pretty no-brainer. Yeah.
I'll second.
Mark,
Yes,
Kathleen.
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Karen.
Yes.
Sue.
Yes.
Tina.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you can see we pretty much use everything one high.
oh, yeah. Number 9, motion to approve a change order for M&R Construction for renovations to the Georgetown building. Pre-painted wall covering product consistently has damage. Additional cost to paint wall covering. What does that mean, Tanya?
Oh. So when they were doing the paneling downstairs, ran into a couple of issues. So the wall covering that we picked out is pre-finished, but they needed to put in the strips to make it consistent all the way around, seal those gaps and everything, and then paint those. And we did not go with the gray, we went with the white and left it because it's pre-finished, and just made that all uniform all the way around.
And the call from Mike Mays on our construction to me, I don't know if he had the same conversation with you, but what he was finding was when he was going to get product itself,
Yes.
scratches, finish, whatever damage. And so the choice was, okay, they install what they've got and do the painting to fix it, and you can't just spot paint because you're gonna see the spot paint, right? So you do that, or you completely change it up and you do unfinished product, and then you have to still paint it, right? So we just, yeah, find the paint. So this was the extra cost to go ahead and just paint over what the paint that was already there and fill it on the paint color and fix up any marring and other deformities, so.
Okay.
Which I thought was a pretty reasonable cost, actually.
I need a motion. Thank you, Lynn and Tanya.
I make a motion to approve the change.
I'll second it. Mark,
Yes,
Kathleen.
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Karen.
Yes.
Sue. Yes. Tina.
Yes.
Just FYI, they're done. Like they, already done.
Really?
They're
This has been such a long process, and any little bits have been so encouraging to see, but I would really like to see you guys go downstairs and look. And finally see some remarkable progress there. And it looks really, really nice. And I'm really encouraged to see that much progress lately, and also, you know, hopefully get the outside foundation fixed pretty soon. And then I'm ready to come in and finish up the area. So it's been such a long time coming.
I feel about, what was it, 5 dry days?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, that might be hard to come by. I read that. So,
I'm trying to
not around here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys should do, once we're finished, like a grand reveal party.
We're planning on it, and we're planning on a meeting next week, and we're talking about this birthday celebration as well, because the original part of this building was opened in 1923. So 100, yeah, and yeah.
That's amazing, yeah.
I hope that we can get the chamber to actually come and facilitate the ribbon cutting and the whole.
Yeah, that'd be great. My husband and I are thinking big, so be prepared.
Uh-oh.
Don't take any part of the work on your.
Show up and smile, right? So yeah, so we're actually, I mean, I walked through, Tony and I walked through yesterday, no, Monday, whenever it was, last Monday. And the quality of the finished work. It's good, especially compared to some other finished work that is not good in other parts that they did not do. And so I was also very encouraged by this. So we're ready to pay them the rest of what they're due. And so now that this is quickly approved, we'll be sending the check for the final payment and be thinking about them the next time we need to have something done.
The plaster work looks amazing.
Yeah, for me, local to Georgetown.
Yes.
That which is good.
Yes, that is very good. It's a local.
He said my face, that makes one so familiar. I feel like I went to school. Do you run that age?
I have no clue.
He's on the village council here.
Yeah.
That's who I'm thinking it is, and I assume it is. Yeah.
At number 10, motion to enter executive session to consider the employment of public employees.
I move we move into executive session.
Mark,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Barb,
Yeah.
Karen,
Yes.
you,
Yes.
Yes.
So before we start discussing that, managers or anything, any parting words?
Just to echo a big thank you letter from my staff. That meant a lot to them. And I know you've heard stories from other buildings and their staff, but I have everyone greatly appreciated it. But there are several employees that we have that it was tremendous. Just under different life circumstances that they have going on. So thank you.
Thank you, Tony.
I want to echo the same sentiments. I had actual tears of joy when I was handing out pay stubs. So I just want you to know that it was absolutely life-changing for some of our staff. And in the scheme of things, it's not, I mean, it's minuscule in the scheme of life, but it was large to them, and it was large to me, and it was large to all of us. So we just want to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts for being such a great group of trustees this whole year and everything that you've done for us. So
Nicely said.
We appreciate it.
Thank you, Amber.
Heather, you want to move it?
I'm just going to third that, I guess. And I will just say that it was so timely and almost a God's gift to several of our staff members. And there was some emergency situations and things that happened. And it was timing. As I said, it was God's gift.
Yeah.
So,
That's
Thank
good. I'm glad. Oh, great.
Fabulous. Okay, well, then I guess I will shut up.